Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portrais, and I'm joined, as always, by Sean Keenan.
Heidi remembers the 90s. It wasn't great.
Not all the time, no sir. But you know who is great all the time? Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and in 30 minutes, each of you will experience a gastric explosion.
Yeah, I felt a lot of gastric explosions by watching this week's movie.
Oh, man.
Today, guys, we're going to be reviewing Generation X, the kind of made-for-TV movie that I guess they wanted to, like a lot of these, sad abandoned things, they wanted to make it into a show, and not so much. And we'll find out why.
Yeah, we will.
So we got all that kind of good stuff, so that's fun. But, so first of all, we want to say, thank you all for listening, numero uno. But we want to say thank you to all the people at Patreon who have helped bring this here show to you. We've got a lot of people. It's at patreon.com/HMP. And, so the people come through, they donate some, a little bit of money our way, even if it's just $1 or something, and they become just the best of people to us because they help kind of keep the lights on and things going around here a little bit. But so we're gonna read off a couple of those people here, and we'll talk about the executive producers and all that kind of good jazz and stuff as well. So first off, we want to thank Louis Longshadow, Mike Estep, Eric Freeman, Matthew Snap. I'm still gonna try to pronounce the name as best I can. These two guys, they're great, but they're tougher names. Gorgon Campy, I'm sure that's close enough.
Perfect.
Khalil DeMakel. See, I'm getting even better.
Great, man.
I'm going to tell you, I'm working it up today. I'm proud of myself, what with the reading and all. And then executive producer level, we got Beta FU, we got Holly, we got Bo Landash, and we got Jim Beverly here. And we're gonna say because he's got an email in this show, and I want to involve him. This is gonna be the executive producer this week is Beta FU. Beta FU. It is because of you, my good friend, newish listener to the show, reviewed us on the iTunes and everything. This guy's come under the HMP spell rather quickly, and I like that. So yeah, man, he's the executive producer for this show. If you'd like to help out this show, just head on down to patreon.com/HMP. Even $1 will get you special things, and we drop bonus episodes when we certainly try to, and we try to do it more and more often. But head on down and do that. We appreciate it.
Stay awesome, guys. Stay awesome.
Excellent. So yes, the train keeps on rolling. We got some emails for us. A longtime listener, and as you just heard, executive producer. So we have to read this email. I mean, it kind of goes without saying. It's kind of our boss, Hey guys, this is from Matt Schnapp. I should have told you who it was from.
Okay, I was kind of curious who it was.
It was just gonna be a Paul Harvey thing at the end, where I just go, and that
and
little
that
boy
man was
Matt Schnapp.
Matt Schnapp.
Now you know the rest of the story. It's terrible. Okay, so Matt writes, "Hey guys, I'm recovering from some nasty phone issues, so I'm a bit behind on the show. Regarding Teen Titans, like Sean, I have had a particular affection. I never had any particular affection for the characters. The Cartoon Network show completely turned me around. It's surprisingly mature and gets quite dark at times, but while the characters grow and lose the innocence that they had, they never lose their optimism. The show also covers the Judas Contract and Trigon. It held such depth that many were disappointed by the continually devoided, gag-filled Teen Titans Go, a feeling I don't share." I like, me too.
Yeah, I think it's a big hit.
I love that show. I love that show so much. So don't let Justice League versus Teen Titans turn you off, and don't be dissuaded by the anime aesthetic or J-pop intro. There are more there than it seems. That is from Matt. P.S. Raven and Robin equal OTP, smiley face. Alrighty. Okay, I believe there was one more. Yes, this was from Matt Dietrich. I don't know that we... Oh, wait. Well, I shouldn't have said his name. Well, I'll bleep that out because I don't know. He might be undercover or something. So another executive producer, Beta FU, or Beta Fu, I'm sorry.
Edward Snowden
himself. Yeah, I will bleep that out. I'm not even kidding because I don't even know. I just, you don't want to... You never know.
Yeah.
In a totally different voice, you should go Beta Fu.
Beta Fu.
To cover it.
It's just one of those, So He has dropped us an email. Great show, guys. As a newly minted executive producer, I thought we mentioned that earlier. See? See?
Yeah.
I understand my responsibility, no, sacred duty, to give notes on the episode. Number one, I love how he does this, too. This is the best. Because it is like he's walking us in as his executive producership would have you believe here. Camp Keenan, love it. Marketing says it trends well in the under 15 crowd. Let's do lunch soon to discuss the opportunities how to cross-brand with Hasbro. We're thinking pop figures. Number 2, you mentioned Scientology. Legal just wanted me to remind you that they briefly informed you on this previously. Fair enough. Number 3, PR has been banding about some ideas that we'd like to float past you guys. We all love the Stallone connection, you know that, but it's not doing well with the under 30 crowd. That's call. They'd like you to consider the Taylor Lautner connection. Just bounce it around. That's the best part about being like the over the top executive producers. We could say no to whatever we want.
Yeah,
because I make the show. And number 4, as an exec from Sci-Fi has reached out to us to order a pilot for the Leslie-verse, and I'll be pitching Little Steel with the tagline, "Strength doesn't always come in big packages. Look for the email. We may have a nibble from Michael Bay." Number 5, and his last one here. As executive producer, I have the power to suggest items to review. I give you my list. These will probably be some we will certainly cover at one point or another. Birds of Prey, the TV show. iZombie, also another TV show. As The Tick, my guess is he's probably talking about the old one. The new one.
The live action, yeah.
Still should be coming out not too awful long. I guess
it'll give me a reason to talk about my Patrick Warburton story when that one comes up.
Ooh, very nice. Painkiller Jane, I vaguely remember that. Witchblade, the TV live action series. Didn't she get an animated one too, or am I crazy on that?
I thought that it was animated, but I never watched it.
No,
that might have just been a misguided assumption I made.
There was a live action one. I mean, I saw like an episode.
There was because she was
CBS
always in jeans, if I remember.
I hated that. I'm just
That's
what
not
is the
Witchblade.
point of
If she's not in thong armor, it's not Witchblade.
Michael Turner did not die for her to walk around in jeans on that program. It was no good. Wildcats, the animated show and all that stuff. So keep up the good work, Beta FU. So Beta FU, thank you for being executive producer.
Oh man, with that list, he didn't throw in Gen 13. That's the one I'm waiting for.
We've got the Filipino dub of that. What is it again?
It was Portuguese, but I think I found an English language one too.
Ooh, all right, moving on up, boys. We are getting there. And before we get to the show running proper here, and we get into into our review. We got to graduate. Graduate. It's
Congratulations
what it's about. Congratulate
for
on the graduation. My words are all stumbly today. To Hunter Campbell, man. So a long-time listener, one of the early reviewers on the iTunes there, iTunes.com, whatever. I don't know how you get there. You know how you get there. Rate that stuff. 5-star, a.k.a. Humdinger. I just want to get one of those in the episode just on account of. But Hunter has graduated from nursing school, man, and so that's a big deal. So we just wanted to kind of give a little clap here, man. Not too shabby.
Yeah, man. Good job. Good luck on your boards, and I think you got a bright career ahead of you.
Congratulations, brother. That's awesome.
Nice, man. It's a good job over there. And rocking the HMP shirt at the gym and stuff. I like that. It just kind of gets all the meatheads to go, hey, what's going on with this? That ain't Run DMC. That's Run HMP. You got a real raspy voice all of a sudden. That was fun. All right. Let's get down to it, gentlemen. Here is the trailer for this week's, I guess, movie. No, we'll call it a movie because it's that certain. Lord knows it's that length.
Do the pictures move?
Yes.
Then it's a movie.
Fair enough. Here comes the trailer for Generation X.
Tonight, Fox presents a world premiere motion picture from the creators of the hit comic book series, The X-Men comes Generation X. They've got the power. They've got the technology. They're the new generation of superheroes, and they're coming to save the world.
You can't win. I need some help out here, come on!
Get ready for Generation X on the Fox Tuesday night movie.
Oh, you gotta love that Fox attitude, don't you?
What people may not know is that's the most subdued promo they ran all year.
that was
Man, what a great trailer. I love it.
That is straight Fox of that mid-90s era. That is just like, that is where the attitude Fox came from. It was just, so bad.
It really makes me feel like going out and buying a Super Soaker for some reason.
Yeah. From Wemo. Here's the IMDb plotline. A group of young mutants, humans with genetic variation that gives them superpowers and makes them feared by the population at large, begin training at a school for heroes. Their studies are interrupted when they must rescue one of their number from a mad scientist who can enter others' dreams. This is directed by Jack Shoulder, and I'll talk about him in a little while as well, because that's an interesting cat right there. Starring a whole lot of people you've never really heard of for the most part, save for Matt Frewer, right?
Yeah. Bumper Robinson. People may have heard of him.
Yeah, him too. He's one of those cats that you're just like, he was always kind of around in that era right there, but you didn't really know, like, you're like, is that the guy with the face kind of thing?
Yeah, and he did a lot of voice acting. People might recognize his voice.
Okay.
Finola Hughes is pretty well known too, I think.
No, okay, I'll give you that one. And there's a guy in here who I guess played like what was the role? It was like an orderly. This cat looks exactly like Bond, man. He looks exactly
like Daniel Craig or Roger Moore.
Daniel Craig, man. He looks exactly like Daniel Craig, except like he's losing like a little bit more hair. Like he had a twin brother who was just like a little bit uglier. I don't know. It's just weird. Anyways, for those of you who don't know, this happened in 1996. But, Bruce, give us a little bit of history about Generation X.
Well, Generation X is an X-Men spinoff that happened in 1994 because Marvel just couldn't resist capitalizing on any term with the letter X in it. Honestly, I'm surprised we don't have a team called the X chromosomes made up entirely of female mutants, or maybe the X cells made up entirely of mutant accountants that really love spreadsheets. But Scott Lobdell and Chris Bacalo introduced us to a young team of mutants designed to reflect the cynicism and complexity of the series' namesake demographic. They weren't under the tutelage of Professor X, but rather by inappropriately underdressed Emma Frost, and, we can talk about Hot for Teacher if we want to, as well as Irish stereotype loose cannon Banshee. Now, the team was made up of X-Men stalwart Jubilee, coal miner's daughter Husk, M, the perfect socialite from Monaco, Mondo, the Samoan absorbing man, and the cutaneously gifted Skin, among others. They were based in Western Mass instead of Westchester, New York, I assume due to better real estate prices, and they spent a lot of their time fighting a mutant vampire with a penchant for sucking bone marrow. Now, the book was surprisingly popular with readers of the aforementioned namesake generation until the Massachusetts school closed its doors in 2001. But what we really want to know is who were the real-world Generation X? Now, Generation X, which is commonly abbreviated to Gen X, is the generation born after the Western post-World War II baby boom. Most demographers and commentators use birth dates ranging from the early 1960s to the early 80s, though personally I would narrow it down to folks born between 1969 and 1984 for totally arbitrary reasons and because I'm a notorious contrarian. Now, the name was popularized by Canadian author Douglas Copeland's 1991 novel, Generation X Tales for an Accelerated Culture, and international rock superstar Billy Idol was a member of the punk band Generation X from 1975 to 1981. One thing everyone can agree on is that Gen Xers are far more awesome than those snot-nosed millennials and far less likely to drink in the workplace than their grandparents' so-called greatest generation. Generation Xers are often called the MTV generation because they actually got to experience music videos on MTV as a regular thing, and they were also called the latchkey generation because all their parents were divorced and their moms couldn't afford a babysitter on a waitress's salary. Now, John Hughes convinced us to hate our parents even though they were busting their humps to buy us Shinobi and Double Dragon for our Sega game systems, and maybe I'm getting a little too self-involved here. But anyway, The Brookings Institute and the Pew Trust published findings reporting that males of Generation X would be the first to earn less than their fathers since way back when leeches were being regularly used as a treatment for consumption. But they've got Nirvana and Quentin Tarantino, so that kind of evens out. Now, the point of all this is that the original X-Men were designed to appeal to the far-out counterculture elements of the 60s and 70s baby boomers, and a new team was needed to appeal to the flannel-clad, nihilistic youth living in a time of unparalleled peace, prosperity, and access to education. A team to remind us that no matter how disillusioned we are with 1950s morality or a 1980s culture of consumerism, at least we don't have 6 feet of extra skin like poor Angelo Espinosa. And guys, I don't know about you, but if I had 6 feet of extra skin, I know exactly where I would store it.
I don't even know what that means. And I'm not taking a stab at it either.
Okay.
So yeah, man. We forgot to mention, or maybe I don't know if we mentioned it or not. But yeah, I think I did. Turbo Addiction is the one who kind of told us, "Hey, man, check this out" and everything when he wished us happy 100th episode a couple back there.
Yeah.
And now you'd seen this at some point, yeah?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen it, but I didn't see it live when it was originally broadcast. I saw it on YouTube.
I saw the broadcasts. I actually saw it when it was aired.
And you're living today.
I don't remember. I couldn't remember much about it because it was one of those things where it was like, well, that was a disappointment, like, you know, one of those things. But you know, what did I expect? I mean, it's a made for TV movie with B grade X-Men. I mean,
do you remember what time of year it came out?
I couldn't tell you.
Because I don't even remember seeing promos for
February.
it. Yeah, I had a TV with rabbit ears on it, and this would have been like my senior year of college, so I did kind of flip around on the channels, but I wouldn't have made an appointment to watch this. It would have just had to be on when I was flipping through and saw it on the 4 channels I could get on my rabbit ears. And to be honest, if I'd seen it like in the middle of some scene where someone wasn't using their powers, I would have had no idea what it was and probably flipped on over to one of those made-for-TV Rockford Files movies that they were making in the 90s.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, one of the things about it, though, was that it was on Fox. So, you know, Fox is notorious for not promoting stuff that they don't care about. And I can't remember how I heard about it, but I do remember thinking to myself, well, I got to make sure that I make myself available to see that. And I did. And the only 2 things that I could remember from when we first talked about seeing this again was Matt Frewer acting exactly like Jim Carrey, and
exactly. I mean, like
having and that Emma Frost, the lady who played Emma Frost, was not bad, was what I remembered.
And, you know, it was kind of like Jim Carrey in The Mask, if I was going to say a Jim Carrey. He even wears the zoot suit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, it's so clear one for one that they were like, hey, why don't you just be Jim Carrey in this?
And, you know, as a big Max Headroom fan, as I'm one of the legion of Max Headroom fans out there, I really wanted him to maybe channel a little more Headroom than Jim Carrey here.
I wanted to do the dad from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but he wouldn't do it.
And something else, even though this was broadcast on Fox, this was a New World production. This was a Roger Corman production.
Let me tell you, kids, when New World Pictures pops up at the beginning, that's all you need to know, that you need to turn this off right now.
And I honestly think that originally it was supposed to be like a direct-to-video movie. Fox got the rights to the character, so New World couldn't do it on their own. They broadcast it on Fox. But, you know, when we watch it on YouTube, we're seeing the uncensored version with F-bombs and a couple of other maybe salty language things that they certainly would have had to edit for broadcast. So I don't think they would have made it specifically for broadcast TV and put that stuff in there, you know?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't do enough research on the film.
I think this was intended
itself
to be like the Punisher movie, you know, just straight to home video, and somehow it wound up with Fox.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they expected it to be just direct to video, and then somebody at Fox was probably like, oh, hey, you know, we have the X-Men. We should probably air this.
And also, I think at the time, you know, X-Men 92 had been a big hit. And, of course, Jubilee was a regular part. When I say X-Men 92, I'm talking about the animated series. And Fox, when they got the rights to the X-Men, they did not have the rights to Wolverine initially, and they didn't have the rights to Deadpool initially. I don't remember who had those rights, and I'm not sure what the Wolverine story is, but I know Fox actually acquired the company that had the rights to Deadpool, and that's how they got that. And I wonder if a similar thing happened with Wolverine. So they didn't know how to make an X-Men movie without Wolverine. They knew that Jubilee was popular, so I think the idea was if this caught on, they would do this. But boy, I'm glad it went a different direction about 4 years later.
Here's
3
the
years
thing,
later.
though, man. Was Jubilee ever popular, or were they just, shoving her down our throats going, look at this character? Because no one that I never knew was just like, Jubilee, oh, yeah.
She was in every episode, and I'm sure she did have her fans, but I would also say she was probably the least expensive character they had the rights to that they could bring to live action. I mean, it's a little more expensive to bring Storm to live action, or somebody like that. Plus, she's young, and Fox wanted that young demographic. If Rupert Murdoch cares about anything, it's the youth of America.
It does. He's so connected to them.
Well, there's three things that Jubilee has going for her, too. One is that she's young, like you were saying. So, she's the perfect cipher for the kids who are going to be watching this. Two, she's a woman. I mean, she's a girl, which, that's a rare commodity with superhero projects. And three, she's not sexualized in any way.
And you left out number 4, man. She's Asian, and of course, Hollywood never misses a good chance to whitewash an Asian character.
Yep.
That's true.
So they did that here in this show.
Listen, records, you have to keep those streaks going, otherwise,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
America loves a streak.
It does. Now, the director of this movie is Jack Shoulder, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Now, while that might not strike the biggest of oh, really, to anybody out there, this is a guy who's he has directed some stuff, and the best thing that he's done, and by best I mean one of the worst, and it's great, is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now it's making a whole lot more sense, man.
And so
this movie makes a lot more sense when you tell me it was a Nightmare on Elm Street director.
Well, here's the thing, though, but the big thing is how dumb that this guy is. Just to give you an idea, I mean, this is discussed in a long Nightmare on Elm Street documentary series. This guy, if you've ever seen Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, it's a giant gay allegory if we're honest with ourselves. It really is. The guy who wrote it says as such. The kid who starred it was gay. This director spent this entire thing, and if you know what happens in that movie, you're just like, how do you not see the writing on the wall? This director was just like, I didn't know any of that stuff was in there. He's like, really? A gym teacher getting beaten in a shower? It's like, oh, I don't know what any of this is. But this guy is he's clueless. I want to say that, this is where this guy went. And this is after that. So,
And I'm curious,
he's on a downward trend towards television.
Has Bryan Singer ever commented on whether or not this movie is canon with the X-Men cinematic universe?
That would be an interesting question.
I would say no.
Because I want to see Skin show up in Age of Apocalypse. Same actor and everything.
Why is he so old? Well, the skin is kind of...
It's droopy.
Yeah, droopy. What are you going to do? So I don't even know how to get into this thing. So, I mean, it is that kind of it's that first episode of X-Men.
Here's a question that might get the ball rolling on the discussion here. But I don't know, Adam, were you ever much of a virtual fighter fan? I mean, I always thought it was a pretty cool game, but they must have been having some serious desperation in order to put product placement in this thing.
I was a Soul Calibur 2 man myself, mostly before, after Street Fighter 2, of course. That goes without saying. But more in that era, I was a Soul Calibur 2, but that's even a little bit post then. But no, I don't know why they're all playing this game. And Matt Furr's face going in it. What was he saying?
He's saying, play the game some more, put your quarters in, something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's just like, what?
But yeah, Virtual Fighter gets name dropped with 2 fictional products, when he's in the boardroom. So we kind of get introduced to Jubilee, who's not only a mutant, but she's pretty darn good at Virtual Fighter. And we see him with some kind of like subliminal message popping up in the middle of the game, which, let's be honest, in the real world, that would get me to quit playing that game right away to see Matt Frewer's face, and it's not doing the Max headroom thing.
She's looking around like, what's going on here, man?
And then she kind of goes nuts, and her fireworks start going off there while she's playing the game, and mall security grabs her and turns her over to the Department of Mutant Affairs.
Well, hold on a second, Bruce. So, because this is a question I had while I was watching it this time. Are the fireworks helping her get better at the game?
No, it's just, she's 15 years old. She has trouble controlling her power. When she gets very emotional, very upset, very frustrated, or perhaps very embroiled in a video game, she just can't control it, and it goes off.
Have you ever heard Hot-Blooded?
Because it seemed like she was doing better while her mutant power was going off. Is that like the game was going faster or something while it was?
Well, that's a question perhaps only Mr. Shoulder can answer.
Mr. Shoulder.
Yeah, but I think I just think it was to let us know she was a mutant more than anything. Shortcut for the audience, because you would think knowing that it's Jubilee would be enough, but it also moved the plot forward, so people discovered she was a mutant when she lost control of her powers. And to be honest, with the young mutants and the new mutants and all of the mutant characters at times, it was always a plot device in the comics too, that they would sometimes lose control of their powers, and that's why the government justified all the anti-mutant laws that got passed.
Yeah, they're popping off everywhere. Who knows where the next one will be next?
Heaven help us if people get a free light show.
There's just bottle rockets coming out of her arms. Bottle rockets and little sparklers.
And then the cops come and take her away. And even for a 90s movie, I think that this reference was a little dated, but Banshee and Emma Frost show up as Officer Hootie and Officer Blowfish.
Oh, my gosh.
Even by 96, I think people were sick of holding their hand.
I thought it was hilarious.
I was sitting there. I was as one often is wont to do with these movies. I wasn't paying the closest of attention 110% of the time. You kind of get distracted because it's dull and boring. And I was looking away from the screen for a second, and I was telling my lady friend, I'm like, they just dropped a Hootie and the Blowfish record. This is what I do for this show.
Man, but in South Carolina, they're still the thing, right?
No.
Aren't they a South Carolina band? I thought you guys
they were
still
from
love them.
They are a South Carolina band.
They're from Columbia.
They're not like people remember them fondly, but they remember them fondly.
Because I kind of think of him as the guy from the Burger King commercial now, but there was a time, man, when it was popular while people were drinking and stuff.
Aren't you the guy with the hat on that big mechanical bull?
Spicy chicken.
That looks like a fun time. But it is bad. They drop Hootie so many times. It's like, I wonder, like, you're always, this whole movie you're going like, who's the agent? Who's the record company that's owned by somebody that got that put in like 4 times?
Yeah, I think that was just some writers who were thinking they were way more clever than they were. I don't think Hootie or his fellow Blowfish wanted that in there.
Don't worry, guys. People are going to look back on this like it's the Beatles. If you saw Beatles in a thing, you'd be like, oh, my gosh, it's amazing. This is going to be like that 30 years later. Don't you worry.
And, the more I think about it, I think maybe Roger Corman's grandson just happened to have a cabinet model of Virtual Fighter. That might be why it was in here.
Yeah, there you go. It was it was off at the pizza place, and they were just like, well, you can have this for free for the evening.
But I do love it when Banshee and Emma Frost go up to Jubilee's mother and they say, we want to recruit her to a school where we can train her. And she says, what, to be a stripper? Because, Emma Frost has her own particular style of dress that she likes. And I'll say, I thought she was a little overdressed in this movie.
I was going to say, given, we'll say, 15 years, I'd say that she was practically dressed like a nun for her standards.
And, I mean, you go back to the Hellfire Club, the old comics where the White Queen is introduced. I mean, that's canon going back as far as the canon goes,
Yeah. So,
apparently
I'm just like,
chess is a much sexier game than I realized.
Way sexier.
Yeah, those pawns kind of look like what.
Yeah, this is true. Since we brought her up, man, I cannot stop looking at this lady's wig and just going, why? why? Just why?
As a bit of trivia, that's the exact same wig that Halle Berry wore in X-Men as Storm.
Sounds about right.
She had a bad wig too, man, in that first movie.
It was just like, it looked terrible, and I'm just like, does anyone buy this? And she looks so disinterested in every word that comes out of her mouth. She's acting, but she's not interested.
Now, what did you guys think of Banshee? Did anything seem familiar about him?
I believe I saw him on a box of Lucky Charms once.
Well, that's actually the voice actor from Banshee's character in the X-Men animated series.
Really?
Oof.
Yeah.
And that's where it belongs, on an animated character, not a human being that I can see with my eyes.
As much as I love that show, part of what makes it so endearing is that they had horrible accents on their voice actors, you know? For some reason, they made Wolverine Australian, I think, but oh boy, I could just listen to Gambit, Remy LeBeau on that animated series for hours, and that terrible character.
Oh, just so bad.
Remy LeBeau, share. I could listen to that over and over.
It's just like, he's on something, isn't he? A little Dramamine or something in him.
But yeah, in a weird move, they cast the only actor, I guess, that had previously played Banshee.
I guess. First of all, he's wildly unappealing.
And I will put it also on the record that the lady with the really nasally voice that played Jubilee was not Jubilee's voice actress.
Okay.
But who knows? Jubilee's voice actress might have been 47. You know how that goes.
That much is true.
But did you believe Jubilee was 15 here?
No.
I didn't either. But that's how old she's supposed to be in this movie when she goes off to the school. And we also meet Alejandro Espinosa, better known as Skin. I think that was his name. I've already forgotten it, but I'm sorry, Angelo Espinosa. But we meet Skin when he's leaving home too, and his sister holds onto his arm and gives him the old stretchy arm goodbye. I think that was just like a repainted leftover prop from that Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
That's precisely what I was thinking.
Man, it's so bad that at one point I was expecting someone to give him like a purple nurple.
It did happen, man.
No, that
did
happened.
Get one of those.
Oh, you're right. He did get one of those.
He got the old stretchy purple nurple treatment, too.
Oh, my God. So terrible.
Like, somebody went and, like, spent, we're going to say minimum 5 hours on that gag. That's at a bare minimum. It's probably at least a day or two trying to come up with the purple nurple thing and said, this is good.
Oh, man.
This is what this movie needs.
Where can we get a very malleable nipple for this joke?
Oh,
yeah, so his sister finally lets go of his arm. He and Jubilee get taken to the mansion where the school is, and they're processed, and they're strip searched, which is weird because they only seem interested in strip searching Jubilee.
I have to refer to Deadpool on this one too, where when Deadpool kept showing up to the mansion,
yes,
and he goes, "Boy, there isn't a whole lot of people here. This is a mansion, you know."
And God, I keep bumping into just you two.
Same exact mansion in this movie that's been used in all the X-Men movies.
I did read that. Very good.
I guess it's the only mansion in Victoria, British Columbia, so they keep using it. But
boy, they're making a penny over there.
But when they're doing the whole processing scene as if they're being taken into prison and deloused, it's kind of a questionable setup of shots because there's a shot of a computer screen that says Jubilee, age 15, then a shot of her taking her sweater off. So that was a little weird. I guess 96 was a different time, but 20 years ago wasn't that long ago, you know? They kind of probably knew you didn't. Well, American Beauty came out after this, so who knows what they knew in Hollywood.
Different times, man. You know, people were wearing flannel shirts. The music was weird, you know.
That's right. Every guy was wearing a flannel shirt and a baseball hat, and every girl had the Rachel haircut.
It's what it was, man. It was what it was.
That's what it was.
Jubilee takes her shirt off, stands there, with her arms crossed to protect her modesty. And the next thing you know, Emma Frost is like rubbing her with a popsicle stick. And knowing Roger Corman, I'm not exaggerating. I'm pretty sure that was just a used popsicle stick that was being rubbed on her shoulder there. Did you guys catch that?
It could have been. Might as well have been. I'd like to think that it is now.
And then Skin didn't have to go through the same humiliation on camera. He got his strip search off camera with Banshee.
Boy, I don't want to see that DVD extra. No, thank
Man,
you.
this made it straight to VHS. There's no way that there's a DVD floating around unless somebody transferred it.
That's right.
Man, there's a part of me that thinks this may have gotten like a theatrical release in Bulgaria or something.
Well, I mean, clearly it was made for made for direct to video. I mean, but just from the cursing. I mean, there's so much cursing in this movie.
Yeah. And, they finally get through with their processing and go straight to a football game, which is almost, but not quite as unrealistic as the football scene in The Room,
Yeah.
And they get to meet everybody.
Well, I don't know if anything could be that inept, but
yeah, they get to meet everybody, and then I guess either the director or maybe the producer himself remembered they had that stretchy arm prop lying around, so they give Skin the old stretchy arm tackle treatment.
Use it again, use it again.
And then that's a reason for all the mutants to just kind of jump on each other because they're not sure. Like once the guy's down, he's down, but they like to pile on, and then out comes our good friend.
The football stuff. The football stuff was so clearly shot by people who did not know anything about football.
What's the rush count on that?
The scene is shot like someone who cannot stand football, and that is what football looks like to people who have never actually watched a game.
Yeah.
Or played a backyard game.
And then also, as soon as Mondo opens his mouth, I realize, wow, Bumper Robinson has never been in a bad neighborhood, man, because that's like the worst hood speak I've ever seen.
Well, didn't he start with Michael Jackson or something, I want to say?
I would absolutely believe that. And in the comic book, he's Samoan, so I guess they couldn't find a Samoan, so they got him. But to be honest, I think he probably could have done a better Pacific Islander Samoan kind of pidgin accent than what he did with his attempted inner city youth accent.
That is what's missing from this movie is Jar Jar.
I think he would have been a great joke. Come on, this movie is where Jar Jar belongs.
I totally agree with you. Jar Jar would have been the highlight of this thing.
And there was this orange cat that came on and just said awful things.
Me's open, Annie. Me's open. Throws us the ball to me's.
And it was the best part of the show.
Oh, man. But, so we kind of get the standard kind of introduction to this ragtag group and all that kind of thing. And this guy Refrax, the blonde-haired kid.
Who were just like, he doesn't need the sunglasses, but is always wearing them like Cyclops, man.
Yeah, they're trying to sort of make him like Cyclops, and they say he can shoot energy beams out of his eyes, but he also, somehow they know he has other powers that will eventually show up.
But it's the weak thing of like, well, he doesn't have to keep those stupid things on. It's all just a facade. It's just, I don't know. It bugged me a lot.
Here's what I thought when I saw the character, and please tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but I thought, man, they really tried their best to put Billy Idol in Generation X, because that's kind of what he is.
No doubt.
So I was waiting for his white wedding and his rebel yell, but I guess Banshee had the rebel yell here because he comes out and gets to use his power the one time in this movie, and he's awfully proud of himself for it.
Yeah, he's just like basically, well, look at that, what I did. It's just like, dude, shut up.
And I would love
you screamed at some people.
What a complete waste also. If you're going to have Banshee just use his power one time, why would you use it right now? Like, why not, build up to it, have it, guys, I can't use it because, almost like the Inhuman does, where, guys, I really can't use this because people get hurt when I use this power. And then finally...
Oh, you're talking about Black Bolt there.
Yeah.
Black Bolt, right. So you basically play it like Black Bolt, where, look, I've got this thing that I can do, but I don't like to use it that often. No, we're just going to ruin it. We're going to use it right now, this one time, where I scream at a bunch of kids who are pretending to play football.
Well, if we're making the Black Bolt comparison, I would be all for Banshee being mute in this movie, but I guess that didn't happen. But
That's the only reason why I say Vin Diesel can play him too.
I'd really, really, really like to see the raw footage before any effects were added of this actor just standing there pretending to scream and then blowing on his fingers. I'd like to kind of watch that on a loop as a GIF or something. I think that would be kind of funny.
What was with the just look at that OK Corral style, bing bang boom, I just got on these cats, blow off the pistols and put them back in your imaginary holsters.
Look at that. I just abused a bunch of young kids that were having some harmless fun playing football.
The heck with those
I'm
kids.
Irish.
Let's remember, everybody, I could take my shirt off at any moment. Let me pop my shirt off.
What's that weird vest
they
he's
kind of
always
introduced
wearing?
the idea that Buff, the girl Arlie that they refer to as Buff, who's not from the comics, I think maybe she's kind of like Husk. There was a character named Husk who could shed her skin, and then she'd have a new element making up her skin underneath the layer that she shed. Kind of a weird thing, not easy to I guess, translate to the live action
It's
movie.
like an
that they were
everlasting gobstopper. She just gets
Very
to the
much
middle
so.
and you got a little something else in there.
But they kind of reference the fact that she wears these loose-fitting clothes and she's real self-conscious. But Billy Idol managed to cop a feel during football, which is why you never play football with a guy that looks like Billy Idol.
No.
But anyway, he managed to cop a feel and it was solid.
Yeah.
And
So what is the deal with her? Because she isn't from the comics, right? I mean, they cut her out of whole cloth.
For some reason, this movie was her only appearance. I can't believe she didn't catch on, but yeah.
She's supposed to be like the strong man, right?
I guess she's supposed to have muscles without working out is what they lead us to believe. I don't know. I mean, we do get that. We do get a little glimpse at her done very, very poorly. Like if there's an Oscar for worst editing, that scene should get it. But I don't want to get too far ahead here. They kind of play around with Buff a little bit. You know, they have her in the girls' dorm room or whatever, and when she goes to change clothes, she doesn't want anybody to go with her, which to me is...
But they do all that stuff, but what is her power set? Is she strong?
I think they say she's strong. She can run 60 miles an hour or something else. They say a couple of things about her at the beginning as her introduction. Like she's even stronger than Mondo. She can run 60 miles an hour, but she's really self-conscious about it all.
I would like to see this team now with the actors from then. I would like to see what that looks like right now.
Yeah.
I got a feeling there'd be probably 70% more pooch. And I'm talking about like the belly part on everyone, not just Buff there.
Well, I've
definitely
seen
on
pictures of
Banshee.
Finola Hughes. She's still getting it done.
Have you seen any current pictures of Banshee? Like he's actually continued to act a little bit. He's a Canadian actor, and he could probably pass as Kevin James now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He enjoys his. I don't know, what do they eat in Canada? Canadian bacon and poutine. He enjoys it. Tim Hortons every day, all day, every day.
He's going to star in an MMA movie.
These all sound like wonderful life trajectories right now.
Yeah, the direct to YouTube sequel to The Fighter or whatever that movie was with Kevin James.
Oh, I don't remember. Wow, that's the first time I thought about that movie that nobody saw in a long time.
And then, yeah, and we kind of get to go back to Max Headroom when he's in that boardroom of whatever nebulous business he's working for. I guess it's an advertising agency or something. And he makes them all pass gas simultaneously, which
this is so stupid.
If going into dreams gives you that power, well, that's a power I want to have, man, because he really defied some physiology there.
I want to start passing out some poots over here.
I don't care how much you hypnotize a person. You can't cause them to produce methane that's not there, you know?
So his plan, let's break him down for a minute, Matt Frewer's character, because I like there's something going on here where, so he gets fired from his job at working for a government agency, right?
Yeah, he's working with Emma Frost, and he blames her for getting him fired because he was getting ready to decapitate a mutant to get to the pineal gland.
And then so he gets fired from that, not arrested, just fired.
Yeah, attempted murder, merely fired.
And then he joins the private sector.
Where, the private sector is notorious for paying so much less than the government.
Right. It's supposed to be a step down. And his plan hasn't changed, right? He still wants to get that gene from the mutants.
And I do love the way that he says that the mutant gene lies in the pineal gland, but that's just not how genes work. They're kind of everywhere.
But my question is more big picture stuff. So like his plan. Is he planning on ruling the world when he does that, or is it specifically just so he can make money?
That's what I thought. I'm like your global domination idea is to get people to buy your crap.
Yeah.
I think for him, it's like he has a theory. You know, at least once upon a time, he was an insane mad scientist. You know, it's not about what benefit I will get from it as much as it's just proving that it can be done and that I'm the one to do it. Maybe I'll get the Nobel Prize for villainy or something like that. Like, I don't really think he has an end game. He just really, really wants to be the guy that can go in and out of dreams whenever he wants to.
Oddly, that's Rupert Murdoch won that like 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Nobel Prize for villainy.
And I think it's, you know, the only reason he goes into the private sector is he says, you know, I need funding to do my research. Like, I get the idea that it's like kind of like what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger in that Batman and Robin movie when he's Mr. Freeze. Ugh. He's stealing the diamonds to power his cold suit so he can take over to... I don't know exactly what he wants to do.
Steal more diamonds to keep it a never-ending sad loop.
Yeah, but he doesn't want the diamonds because they're valuable. He needs the diamonds to power his cold suit so that he can do his eco-terrorism or whatever with Poison Ivy. That movie's not easy to understand, but and that's not the best analogy.
But I think it's perfect, Bruce, because that's the problem that I'm having. One of the many problems I'm having with Generation X is, what is the plan here? Like, why?
Here's the plan, man. Here's the plan. Originally, he wanted to get that Nobel Prize for dream catching. And then Emma Frost ruined it when he was on the verge of opening up that guy's head. So now he wants revenge on Emma Frost, and he needs the funding from the subliminal messages and the gas passing to get the machine, to get the brain fluid, to get to Emma Frost and ruin that. He called her some nasty things.
Hey, man. So you can get into your dreams and make them fart and stuff? How about you just make them give you money?
You know, there are only like three basic stories out there. There's like man versus nature, and man makes people fart. Those are the only 3 stories really that there are when you break them all down.
Shakespeare taught us well.
Aristophanes came up with the make people fart one.
Oh, I loved him when he dropped his 3rd album. It was great.
He hasn't been the same since he changed bands.
Nah. It happens, man.
Oh, man. But, you know, there's also the part where, like I said, this Billy Idol guy refracts. He keeps talking about, and I don't know how he knows that he's going to get X-ray vision, but he keeps teasing it through the movie. There's a part where Buff is in the bathroom where she doesn't want anybody to see her change clothes, and he pretends that he can see through the wall, and she knows he can't. But then she has the best line in the movie where she says, if your power ever does kick in and you ever do look at me, I'm going to tear your head off of your body and stick it on his butt. And I really think that's like what you put on your sizzle reel when you're sending it to the Academy for consideration.
Absolutely.
Well, we have their highlight reel here. Oh,
that's the
nice.
same incident where they break out the stretchy purple nurple for skin.
But they are just like, okay. Well, let's talk about this for half a second. This is another kind of thing of like, really? So you have this giant school for gifted kids, and you have one bathroom.
I love it.
Single
it's a mansion.
serve.
I could just see the real estate listing. It says 37 bedrooms, 15,000 square feet, 1/2 bath.
Yeah. I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me, dude.
I was kind of thinking, there's no other students here. This mansion's enormous, and they still have to share rooms. I mean, everybody could kind of have their own room here, right?
And if I'm not mistaken, this was a 2-wall set. They didn't even have another
Not even a third wall.
This was a 2-wall, so this was so ghettoly done that they're just like, look, we can't have more than this in here, man.
There are people in the ghetto that are offended by you comparing them to Roger Corman.
That's true. They're like, hey, man, we've got some standards here.
We produce Tyler Perry. We're no Corman people.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Empire.
And then, kind of the next big thing that happens is they all convince Banshee to give him the keys to the van to go into town and go shopping and hang out in the world's last rockabilly soda shop. I think they went to your old hometown in Connecticut there. I imagine you have some rockabilly soda shops there, Sean.
There's one in Concord, actually, believe it or not, just outside of Charlotte. I haven't seen one in Connecticut, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, this is like, man, they must have snuck onto the set of Happy Days to get this scene. But anyway, while they're out, this is when I've seen probably what I would call the most Roger Corman. I mean, this is Ed Wood quality body double editing here because Jubilee pulls back the curtain while Buff is trying on some clothes that they picked out at what is clearly the Goodwill that they're shopping at or something. And we see like Arnold Schwarzenegger standing there, his back, taking the shirt off. And then the world's worst cut to her reaction shot where they don't really go in tight on her face. They just show her whole body where it's no longer Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore. Like they just don't even put any effort into trying to maintain that illusion, you know?
I love that scene so much, man. Like I laughed out loud when I was watching it. I love it.
The only way it would have been better is for the reaction shot. They just put a blonde wig on Lou Ferrigno and let him do the reaction shot. And you know he would have done it, man. Guy's a hard worker.
I'm not busy.
110% that guy.
I told you not to come in here.
Where are you, Lou? Where are you?
Oh, man.
It's
living next to Kevin James, oddly.
And then, you know, the fellas go into that soda shop I was talking about, the Rockabilly soda shop where all the rough kids like to sit around eating banana splits and milkshakes.
All those rough double kids.
And there's this weird thing where Mondo has like a soda drinking contest with some guy he doesn't even know because that's a sign of two really dysfunctional people in the same small town there.
It's just like they're the most aggro dudes ever.
I don't care if it was when my testosterone was at its highest when I was 17 years old and I'm sitting in a restaurant and a stranger looks at me and starts chugging his soda. I'm probably just going to try not to make any more eye contact. I'm not going to get into a soda chug with a stranger unless there's like a pre-mentioned arrangement. It's not my instinct. I just think, man, that guy's thirsty. But
that's it. You and me right now.
I've done stuff like that before when I was a kid, but it was never like for like, oh yeah, I'll show you. It was more like amongst friends where it's like, hey, I bet you I can eat 10 cheeseburgers, like that kind of thing.
But not with the stranger. You don't see a stranger with a plate of 10 cheeseburgers and pull over the waiter and say, come on, give me 10 more. I'm gonna do 11.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Making eye contact with him with every bite, just look at me.
Come on, lightweight, you got this. Let's do it. Come on.
And then I guess what they do is they use the girls to lure Skin over to the table, and he gets the old banana split in the face treatment that we've all had to experience, right?
Of course.
I was scared to death of a mixture of ice cream and fruit for years.
It's ridiculous.
Wait till you've had the raspberry parfait. That's way worse than the banana split.
Good night, everybody.
But of all the least, like I don't know, man. That is so much like maybe I could see Eddie Haskell doing that to the Beaver and Leave It to Beaver. But in 1996, this is Generation X, man. And that's what they come up with is the banana split. I mean, they even had like near-death experiences in Footloose and Back to the Future. And it's the banana split. And it wasn't even his banana split. Some other guy just lost $7 on that. If you ask me, the joke's on him. Because you know he's still going to eat it with your boogers on it. That's $7 to a high school kid.
I'm gonna eat this
and not only that, but you know that the script to this was written by the guys that used to write the Leave It to Beaver scripts. You know, like, hey guys, I got one. I got another job, thank God. And
no, they couldn't get those guys. They were too expensive. They got the guys from Still the Beaver, that TBS show that was on for a little bit.
There you go. That's exactly what happened. And like, guys, I got another one on the hook, and I'll just use the same stuff I used 35 years ago because it worked then, it'll work now.
And apparently Skin is so traumatized by his banana split experience that he goes back, immediately starts hacking away at the X Mansion's mainframe in order to get into mysterious rooms which hold something he has no idea of, but he just feels like that's the right thing to do when you're angry. And even drops a little hint that he used to be a hacker for a Latin street gang back home, which that's interesting. I kind of
that's how that
funny.
Works, right? That's how that works, right?
What you do is, do you need to solve a problem? How about you just pepper in a little bit of dialogue that fixes whatever you might think might be an issue for your audience?
What operating system do you think he's using at that point? Because it's not even Windows 95 at that point. So where does he use it?
That's totally DOS, man. That's like C prompt.
Ugh, I'm gonna kill myself by that stuff. It's the worst.
And I even love it. He says, the computer talks back to him, access denied, in a female voice. And he says something like, I've taken crap from a lot of people today, but not you, Lupita. And he just types faster, because that's the secret to hacking, is you type exactly what you've been typing all along, only faster. And when
you guys know it doesn't work unless you do it with feeling, right?
And it also doesn't work unless somebody says, how long is it going to take? You say about an hour, and they say, you've got 10 minutes. That's how you make it work.
I guess I'll do it. No, I won't like it,
Yeah,
Jim, but I'll make it happen.
I got to say, I was really, really disappointed that he didn't use the words, oh, I'm in. Like, he didn't go, oh, I'm in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, but he hacks into some mysterious room that has the dream chair, and he takes his first trip to Dreamland. It's like the chair. I didn't see a sign that says this is the dream chair. I didn't see an instruction manual on the arm of the dream chair. But, Skin, because he's a hacker, he looks at it and he goes, oh, yeah, a dream chair.
Isn't that supposed to be Cerebro?
That's what I was thinking. That's Cerebro.
Cerebro's also a dream chair, or did he hack his way into being a dream chair? This is making me think of Kung Fury when they hacked their way back in time.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, I'm just going, this is Cerebro, this thing that you donate blood on, and then they put a pasta strainer over on one side of it, and then they just throw some glitter and just it's Cerebro.
Well, he climbs into
the glitter sold it for me.
Yeah.
Glitter sold it for me.
He climbs into Cerebro, and I don't know how big the worldwide dream web is. I imagine it's pretty expansive. I imagine it'd be like
worldwide dream web. Are we going to walk away from that statement without just kind of unpacking it for half a second, going, what are you, a madman? Keep going.
Well, it's like when you go to Heroes, to the convention, and there's people that are there, and you just can't run into them, even though you're all in the same convention room. I mean, it's one big, massive room. Somebody is there the same time you are, and you still can't find them. Yet in the worldwide dream web, he immediately runs into Max Headroom, who's also in the worldwide dream web with his homebrew Cerebro that he's made.
I don't understand any of this. I don't the trips and dreams all stink.
I prefer to think of him as the Lawnmower Man and Lawnmower Man 2 and
That's
3.
what I was thinking. I'm like, this is very Lawnmower Man-esque. There's I don't know, just felt like that kind of 90s, Japanese television show crap. That's just, I don't know.
I really liked him, to sidetrack a little bit. I really liked him in the U.S. Max Headroom series, where Matt Frewer played the programmer as well as Max Headroom. And when he was the programmer, he might as well have been like Anthony Edwards or somebody. I mean, he was very serious and low-key, and it was kind of a nice gimmick that he was those two very different characters. But here, he doesn't show any range or subtlety. Is that the best way to put it?
That's a nice way to put it. I like that you had a nice little drop there for Anthony Anderson. That's nice.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
they were twins once upon a time. Put some glasses on Matt Frewer, put him in the ER.
There you go. But no, look, Frewer's just he is eating scenery. He is just doing Jim Carrey, just plain out and out.
Whether you think he's doing a good job or a bad job, there's no denying that he is trying hard, man. He is sweating. I mean, look at what little bit of hair he has left is frayed from how hard he's putting himself into this performance. So I'll admire him for trying, man.
Oh, no, it's not that I don't put this on him per se. This is really because they said, yeah, that'll work. Instead of going, oh, no.
I even feel like it wasn't that. I feel like they said, hey, man, what year did The Mask come out? That was like 94
or 5. What?
Yeah, so I really think they said, look, we like what happened here. Can you do that? And he probably said, well, that's a little, why don't you let me give it more of the Headroom spin? Let me do it. No, listen, we paid you to do what we said.
The kids
you
love
be
The Mask.
So that's what I think happened. Either that or he said, oh, man, this movie is such crap. I'm just going to have fun. One of those two things. But anyway, in the dream space, he runs into Skin right away, and he says, basically, I can be like a supernatural roofie. I can make it so that blonde-haired lady wants to go out with you with my dream powers. How do you like that?
This just always this whole time, it's just it's always going hey, here's another little layer that I've just literally made up about how the powers of dreams and all this kind of malarkey. And it's just you're just coming up with stuff because it's convenient for you.
And then when he's finally, the people back in the research area, the advertising boardroom, I don't quite know where he's built his homebrew Cerebro, but when the people go to try to stop him and wake him up, Skin uses the old stretchy arm dream retrieval trick to bring him back into the dream world so that once he's disconnected from the chair, he's in like status blinkitus, and all he can do is blink and twitch his eyes, and he can't actually wake up. So now his psyche is permanently in the dream world, and they ship his body off to an insane asylum.
I like that part. I thought that part was pretty cool, actually.
It did seem like something that would fit in here. That next step. What happens if they wake you? What happens if they wake you up at you get withheld within the dream realm? So he's sort of trapped there, but at the same time he likes it because now he can do a bunch of mischief while he's there, and his mischief shows up pretty soon because I guess it's either right after or right before Skin goes. Jubilee wants to go check on her parents' dreams, which, trust me, kids, your parents might be dreaming about something you don't want to see your parents doing.
They acted like with these dreams that they could just go and like select out a dream like it was on a jukebox or something. Just go like, play the one where you miss me.
Yeah,
it's just like like you can just walk in because you know what they're going to be dreaming about that night. What?
And as soon as Jubilee meets Matt Frewer in the dream realm, I think his name's Russell Tresh in this movie, but as soon as she meets him in the dream realm, she's absolutely disgusted and horrified by him and wakes up right away.
Who wouldn't? He's a frightening man.
But somehow he can like smell her pineal gland and knows it's juicy, so he really wants to get her and starts to manipulate Mondo next time Mondo shows up in the dream world, right?
I guess so. This is like, honestly, this is like when it started to get super wacky, it was just like, it was almost more like I'm getting more and more tired. It's like,
yeah, I got to tell you, they started losing me. Nothing makes me crazier than when like you start messing around with dreams and dream world and dream sequences. I hate all that stuff. And the last third of this movie, that's all it is. It makes me nuts.
But this is the spiritual predecessor to Inception, so I value it for that.
Thanks, Christopher Nolan.
But next time, it gets real dark real quick. Like, man, we've got Matt Frewer being kind of goofy, doing his best at imitating The Mask. Jim Carrey's performance in The Mask, maybe throwing a little Riddler in there. And then all of a sudden it gets real dark where he tells Skin, you either do what I tell you to or I'm going to mind rape your little sister every night. And then he licks his little sister's face, which, oh, man, I feel sorry for that actress.
She got, she's already spent it all on Beanie Babies because that was
for the people who haven't seen this, she's what, 12? I mean, it's not like his little sister's 17 or a 21-year-old actress playing his little sister. They've got like a legitimate person from a pudding pop commercial in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she looks like a little kid for sure.
Creepy.
Yeah, and that's where it gets real dark. So Skin has to go. Skin has to promise to go rescue the comatose Matt Frewer body from the insane asylum and then connect his psyche back with his body. It gets a little convoluted there. Like, what exactly is he blackmailing Skin to do? I know it involves getting his body out, but then what? Because you kind of get the idea he wants to be in Dreamland.
Yeah, I like, again, this is the area of the movie where I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on, nor do I really almost care to.
But thank goodness they bring me right back in because, I just can't resist a good carnival scene in a superhero movie.
What is it with these movies? I mean, we are really, honest to goodness, getting to a point now where in, Infinity War Part 1 or 2, we're going to see some sort of carnival scene at some point.
Well, here's what I'll say about Corman. You're shooting for 3 weeks. Shooting for 3 weeks in Canada. The carnival happens to come to town. You got to take advantage of it.
Heck yeah, man. That's just production value on production value that you ain't got to pay for. So, yeah.
It's like we were scheduled to film this scene in an open field. They set a carnival up there, and we just went with it.
Yeah. Roll on, man.
And here's another thing, man. I can kind of go with Matt Frewer doing his Jim Carrey thing, but just out of the blue, Lance, the town bully, that's starting to pick on Skin, and he's also starting to pick on Mondo a little bit. He suddenly slides into a Jim Carrey impersonation. Like, we haven't seen anything like that from this character, and all of a sudden, it's like Matt Frewer's giving him some acting lessons in between the previous scene in the soda shop. Did you guys catch on to that?
Well, I had a bagel with Frewer this morning. He had some interesting thoughts, and I thought, he showed me his collection of favorite Fire Marshal Bill clips, and I wanted to do that. Yeah, YouTube wasn't around back then, but if it was, you'd guarantee that that's what they would have been looking at.
Oh man.
I just, I don't know. I was just so bored at this point because this thing is long, man. This is an hour and a half long, which means it was like 2 hours on TV.
And not only that, but because we're past that point when it happened, but don't forget that there's also the 45-second dancing dream sequence where all Skin and that girl that he likes, all it is
the samba or something, right? Like the conga or the samba.
Yes, yes, for 45 seconds.
And I'll say something I don't usually say about transfers of made-for-TV movies. I think this one probably would have been a little better with the commercials. Give me about a 3-minute break every 15 minutes. Give me something interesting like an old commercial for whatever was popular in 1996. Make me feel a little nostalgic, then bring me back into the film.
Prego commercial. I'm so excited.
It's in
it would have
there.
been way better.
Oh, man. But,
there's that Where's the Beef lady? She's been gone for years, but they've been rerunning the commercials. I'll take it.
But another kind of funny thing is, now this school in a mansion, best I can tell, has 5 students, which tells me they're probably on the verge of maybe getting shut down because of lack of interest. And then
great.
Emma Frost expels the entire student body in one fell swoop after the carnival.
When that one cat set up and like he just goes like, yeah, it was my fault, whatever. When Homeboy 2, just like, even when he stood up, I'm just like, oh, we have got a Spartacus on our hands here, man. It was bad.
Yeah, and the whole team gets expelled, and then Banshee uses that roguish Irish charm that he has to convince the frigid Frost to let the students stick around and get a second chance.
You're really proud of that, weren't you?
That kind of, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I just heard him say it just because.
To quote Adam Portrais, I'm pretty sweet.
I'm just like, that was really good, and I know you're proud of that. And I'm congratulating you on it because I'm just like, yeah, you did.
Now, I need your guys' help to help me understand what happens after the attempted expulsion, because I lost exactly what the plot was a little bit. I know that the group teams up and they go all Dream Warriors. Like, was that Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or 4 with the Dream Warriors?
Yeah, 3.
The Dream Warriors is 5, I believe, right?
Well, no, 3.
3.
Yeah.
Well, the team bands together, and they're going to take the fight to Frewer in the dream world. For some reason, Emma Frost has to stay behind to maintain some kind of illusion, but I don't quite know what that illusion is. Like, I don't quite understand what Emma's doing, how they managed to multi-port Cerebro to get them all in there so they don't have to go in one at a time. I don't get quite how this whole thing is working out, and I also don't get why we even expect it to be a battle. It sounds like, Banshee plus the other mutants show up, and it's pretty easy to take down Frewer, right? What am I missing here?
Nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, you got it. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, man, I was hoping there was more to it than that.
No, that is literally what happened.
It's pretty straightforward and dumb.
And how does the fight go, man? I know they beat him. I remember what happens after the final Dream Warriors scene, but I think at that point I was playing Platypus Revolution on my phone or something.
Because it was boring. There's nothing that goes on. They're just like, there was a fight scene here. You're like, could have fooled me.
And I think,
and at one point, doesn't the Frewer character actually throw like a racist comment at Skin? He calls him because I could have sworn he called him.
He called him a wetback. He called him a wetback.
Okay,
yeah.
I think he did say that. Yeah, you're right. You're right, man.
Whew,
I totally forgot.
I was there just going like, really?
Here's my point. The writers obviously didn't have that much respect for the characters. I mean, maybe it makes sense that Emma Frost, because if Jean Grey were in this movie, she'd be the one maintaining the link or whatever. But this whole movie's been built up about Matt Frewer wanting to get revenge on Emma Frost. So shouldn't the final showdown have been like, only one person can go back, so Emma wants to go back because she knows she can handle it. And then the final showdown is Emma Frost and Russ Tesh or whatever his name is, John Tesh. Isn't that what would have made sense?
I mean, probably. But
yes, of course, that's what would make sense. But this is not that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, there's like, if you are making this movie, first of all, you keep the kids out as much as possible because 90% of them can't act anyway. So what you really should make your movie about is your strength, and your strength in this movie, like it or not, is Matt Frewer. So you follow Frewer through all this stuff, and then you have the kids just show up at random times. Look, all I'm trying to do is take over the world, you guys. That's all I want to do, and these kids keep showing up. It's making me crazy. Like, that's how you make your movie here.
And after the anticlimactic climax, then they have, I guess, I don't know if you call it a coda. Maybe it's supposed to be a denouement, though my knot wasn't quite tied by the tension in this movie. But then I guess what's supposed to make us want to pump our fist in the air and want a sequel or want it to turn into a series or something is when they debut the most gaudy and garish X-Men costume in history when Buff comes out looking kind of like she picked over some of the leftover costumes from American Gladiators to make an X-Men costume and totally isn't Buff. They've already given us that bodybuilder back for like a second. This is another point where they needed Lou Ferrigno and his blonde wig to come out and model the spandex suit.
It would have had a better walk. Just saying. He's a graceful man. It was terrible, and then like the whole big ending and stuff, and you're supposed to be like, ooh, who waits for a no. By the time the credits roll, everybody just throws their confetti in the air, and we're all happy it's over.
That's what I'm screaming. I've got to get a black and white TV before I watch this again. Those colors are garish.
Here's the thing with this movie is that because it's so on the cheap and it's so bad, if they would have stuck the ending on this thing, there would be people who are like, look, I just love this movie because of the ending. But it's with Mad Max, the first Mad Max movie. The first Mad Max movie is really hard to sit through. Everyone loves that movie because of the end and because of the sequels that followed it.
Yeah.
But the first Mad Max movie is really, really difficult to sit and watch for 2 hours. But the ending is so great. Mm-hmm. If they would have stuck the ending to this movie, there would be people who would be clamoring for something like, hey, can we see these characters again? But because the ending is so poor, no one cares. No one cares about these characters. No one wants to see Canadian Banshee. No one wants to see any of that stuff.
I love Canadian Banshee on my pizza. Oh, wait. My fault. All right, so let's get down to it. We've talked about this for far too long. Before we get to our Robin rating, though, we have to find out how this made for television, but somehow, made for movie, but somehow ended up on television. Who knows what happened with it? The television movie from Fox is related to our good friend Sylvester Stallone.
Well, thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement.
Oh, okay, cool.
We went a long time on this podcast before the Stallone connection brought us to the horrible sequel to Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive, which was directed by a man I bet smells a lot like Brute deodorant, Sylvester Stallone. Then we got our first connection to Staying Alive with Kurtwood Smith, who also played the role of Red on that 70s show during episode 95, which happened to be the Agent Carter Season 2 episode. Yeah. By the way, if you haven't heard that episode yet, you should totally download it because it was magnificent. Both Bruce and I were particularly good on it. Anyway. Today's Stallone connection takes us right back to Staying Alive in the form of Finola Hughes, who played the role of Emma Frost in this made-for-TV movie. I never felt one way or the other about Finola Hughes, who happens to be an English actress that's been on American soap operas for more than 30 years. But I'm not a soap opera fan, and unlike many American nerds, the English accent does not affect me like a siren song. When I hear an English accent, it doesn't make someone smarter or more attractive or more likely to control the Iron Throne. Don't get me wrong, it is pleasant to me, like when you're over at a friend's house and they offer you a plum when you didn't even know that you wanted a plum. But you know what? You totally want that plum. Man. And because they don't call me the king of segways for nothing, Finola Hughes landed the plum role of a lifetime as Laura in Staying Alive. But things changed when I found out that Finola Hughes is 56 years old. Now she has my attention, and while she might not be the ripest plum in the plum barrel full of plums, she's still in the plum barrel, if you understand my parlance. Why is she not aging? Is there a portrait of her in an attic somewhere? Does she bathe in the blood of virgins? Is she a witch? Whatever it is she's doing, it's working. And so there you have it, HMPers, this week's Stallone connection. Now, Moira McTaggart and Guido, let's review this movie so that we can produce our own X-Men offshoot with more production value, but still with Matt Frewer.
Indeed. All right.
The English accent never really did anything for me either until I met Marty Merrick.
Oh. Well, look, That is a siren song for me.
Sometimes there's love affairs that can't stop. I don't know. All right, Bruce, let's get down to it. What is your rating for your official Robin rating for Generation X?
This is kind of the weirdest sort of feeling about how to rate something I've ever had, man. It's strange. I'm struggling here. I think it's better than the JLA pilot that we watched. I really do think it's better than that Justice League pilot, but it's obviously not as good as Nick Fury. I think it's better than Power Pack. It's not really forgettable. I don't think it'd be fair to call it forgettable because Max Headroom's memorable performance is something you're not going to forget. Like it or hate it, you're going to remember it. It's not necessarily so bad it's good like Doctor Strange is, but it might still be bad enough to be okay. So bad it's okay is what they should call this movie. Good thing is it's easy to watch because it's on YouTube. You can see it for free. I kind of want people to watch it, but I don't want them to watch it because it's enjoyable. Maybe I just want them to watch it. I think I'm going to have to give it some kind of perverse Damian Wayne. It could easily be a Jason Todd, but there's no way it's a Stephanie Brown because of Frewer's performance. So it's either going to be Jason Todd or Damian Wayne, and I'm going to stick my neck out and go with a really misguided Damian Wayne, kind of the Damian Wayne from the DC animated universe of late.
There you go. Interesting choice. Keenan, what do you got?
I'm going Stephanie Brown on this. I don't. As I said when we were reviewing the Teen Titans versus Justice League, that to me is the worst thing that we can watch. Is something where it's completely forgettable and it's not bad, it's not good, it's just there. This is bad, but it's the good kind of bad where you're like, what are you doing right now? That's ridiculous. Like the 45-second dreams dancing sequence.
And don't forget the stretchy purple nurple.
Stretchy purple nurple, the editing of seeing her back, and it's like clearly not her. Like that stuff is super fun to watch where you just laugh when you're watching it. So for those reasons, I'm giving it a Stephanie Brown.
Yeah, it's tough for me. I mean, I think I'm just like, I really, I want to, the heart says, man, say Jason Todd, but it's not quite to that level that it really deserves all that disgust and that lowest of low rating. So I'm going to go just barely as Stephanie Brown here. But it's weird. It's bizarre. The lighting in it is just, it's like the DP was just like, wait a minute, we have access to how many gels? I'm going to use them all. Well, to me, Adam, I mean the lighting and all that jazz it's because they still wanted to get a bit of that Batman flavor, Yeah,
absolutely. One thing I will say, if I had friends over, I'd rather watch this than the Clooney Batman and Robin.
And there's just black cycloramas around everybody because they're too darn cheap to do anything else for the set. It is just like it's pretty bad. Stephanie Brown, but just I mean it's free on YouTube, so I don't know, whatever. That's as best I got for this movie. I can't tell you to run away from it screaming, but I'm sure shooting them not going to be like, hey, this is how you need to spend at least an hour and a half of your day today.
Sounds like you agree with my assessment that it's so bad it's okay.
I think you got me around. It's so bad it's okay.
Yeah, put that on the poster because I agree with that too.
That works. All right. Speaking of something that's probably going to be just a little bit better than okay, because as of this recording, it's trending at 95%. And ladies and gentlemen, it is our new release review next week, Captain America, Civil War.
And wonderful listener Sean Webb has already seen it because she's in the UK. I don't know if Marty's seen it yet, but the early reports are it's good.
Yeah, so everybody's saying some good things, and I've heard from several sources, not just ones that you would think would say it, but others as well, as best comic book movie to date. Now, there's a big shoes to fill, but we shall see. So. Join us back here for Civil War come next week, man. Until then, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week, sir?
Well, always the same old places, chubbywizard.com. Look for Heroes and Villains Podcast on your favorite podcatching device. And I was a guest on a show I always enjoy being on, a show called I Remembered It Better. So go look for that. The name of the episode that I was on that came out yesterday is, I think it's Examining Obi-Wan's Prostate's the title.
That's a fun time, that show.
Yeah.
Mr. Keenan.
You can reach me at Hero Movie Sean on Twitter. I have my own YouTube channel, Angry Gay Spider-Man. Please check that out. And my new website, handsomeboykeenan.com, coming soon.
Very, very nice. We had it earlier. I want to play a little bit so that you guys know to go to the to Sean's Angry Gay Spider-Man thing. So here's a quick clip from the most recent one.
Thanks for doing that.
Hold on, YouTube's buffering. And of course, it decides it doesn't want to play out the language. Hold on.
Let me see if I can.
Hello.
Let me see if I can play it on my end.
I got it.
Oh, look, Spider-Man's on a lunchbox. Only this isn't a lunchbox. It's a puzzle. 100-piece puzzle. Puzzles are stupid.
So go to Angry Gay Spider-Man on the and that's Spider-Man spelled the correct way, Spider-Man, and subscribe to that bad boy. These things are hilarious. So
Thank you.
I am subscribed because it's a nice daily pick-me-up.
subscribe, like it, and all that kind of good jazz, kids.
There's a new video every weekday, Monday through Friday, so please check it out.
Beautiful. Take a couple of days out, a couple moments out of your day, and have yourself a smile. And my other podcast, or the Film Find, rather, thefilmfind.com. This week we're doing Green Room, and we're also doing the new movie from Key and Peele, Keanu. I've only seen one of those so far, Keanu. Let me tell you this, kids, go see that. It's a good film. So that's it, everybody. Until next week when we come back and talk about Captain America Civil War. For Sean Keenan and Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
See you, Marty and Eve.
In the bayou over here. I love it.
And I